As we look through the rows, Carolyn Pawi, 2:05, 5:34, more than half a second quicker than Andy Farid. Aditya Pangestu, the fellow Indonesian, all of course riding the Hondas in the 125cc category. That's the front row. Sumit Lucas, you mentioned, from India. That's a terrific result for him to be on the second row of the grid, ahead of Nagoi, who lapped in 2:06, 8:38, and Japanese Kurogo also there in 6th place on the second row. And the Japanese contingent of Mori in on the front row, the Taiwanese Chang International, and the first Thai Pasawit is in 9th fastest qualification.
Yeah, I wonder why the Thai riders in ADC did not do a good time, because we've seen in the underbone and super sports category where the Thai rider set a remarkable timing here in Buriram, and it's the first time for all the riders, but it's quite an advantage for the Thai riders because they've been training here in Buriram circuit.
The Filipino Tadachi is 13th, Singapore's Arsiad 14th, and again, just to prove your point, Harmy, Kiat Tisak is bringing up the tail. Lee Yenqing did qualify, but hasn't started, hasn't been on the grid here, so he's scrubbed. So we've got 16 starters for this Asia Dream Cup race number 1. 8 laps of the Chang International Circuit in Buriram, and we are away. Carolyn Pawi gets off to a good start with Arid Fandi also getting close, but that's an excellent start from Aditya. Aditya in bike number 11 tries to go on the inside. Indeed, it's Andy Farid who's taking Carolyn Pawi, and then Andy Farid was forced a little bit wide on that first corner, and Nagoi is tucked in there in 5th, but it's Carolyn Pawi who leads down this long straight in front of the second grandstand. Carolyn Pawi in bike number 1. Sumit Lux has also made a very good start, and there's Nagoi in bike number 5. As they come to the hairpin, it'll be Tepe Nagoi who takes the lead going into the hairpin for the first time. Great start, Army.
A great start, and Tepe Nagoi has to win the race and to make sure that Carolyn Pawi will finish as low as he can to stop him being a champion here. But for Carolyn Pawi, as we've seen throughout the season, and we know that how he can be in front there, it's going to be very difficult for other riders to catch him. But it's still early, 8 laps to go, so that a lot of things can happen in the race.
Indeed, in the Asia Dream Cup, overtaking manoeuvres are plentiful, as you saw there. Tepe Nagoi, though, has made a statement here. Is Carolyn Pawi banks sharp left. That's one of the more difficult corners, and you've got to keep down on that left shoulder, and Carolyn Pawi leads the way coming into the sharp right before they head for home, and the first time that we'll have of the notorious corner number 12. It is Carolyn Pawi who leads the way, and he looks in pretty good nick.
Still in a huge group here. Based on the time yesterday, Carolyn Pawi set 2 minutes 05.534 seconds, and he's the only rider who did below 2 minutes 06 seconds. That shows how fast Carolyn Pawi can go. And if he has half a second in 1 lap, so in 8 laps, they're going to be hard for other riders to catch him up.
So in they come into the straight ahead of the notorious V. Been looking forward to this. They're not as clustered at the front as they might be. Carolyn Pawi's got a good line to go in there. Nagoi will go through in 3rd place. Everybody gingerly around that. They don't use the apron, and everybody safely through. Carolyn Pawi leads after lap number 1. 7 to go. Nagoi is in 3rd place.
Nagoi in 3rd place right now, and well, he finished 2nd. He's in almost all the races this year, and he has won a DNF in Central Indonesia. That really hurt Nagoi in point standing. But now it's Andy Farid Itliha, who is showing Carolyn Pawi that he also is very furious to win the race here in Buriram.
Indeed, Andy Farid on bike number 4, and Tepe Nagoi have overtaken Carolyn Pawi on that long back straight, and that's the Chinese Taipei racer Chang International also trying to get in there as well. Good, nice tucked knees almost touching the floor as they come out to the hairpin. And this is also a fairly long straight, so it's Nagoi leading, and that's his Japanese colleague Mori who's just gone ahead of him. Yeah. And bike number 18 is Pasawit from Thailand, so he's come out of nowhere. And then Carolyn Pawi, of course, he just decides, I want to take over here.
Yeah, that's Pasawit Titiva Rarak from Thailand. And the Thai rider seems to have an advantage here in Buriram circuit. But we have now Andy Farid Itliha back in front. We want to talk about a little bit about the Chang International, because he was on podium in the last race in Suzuka. So you want to continue the rhythm here in Buriram after be after second in the race 2 in Suzuka.
As they come sweeping through, Caroline Powie so good on the corners, and you can almost see that he's got that half a second advantage on every lap. So Caroline Powie leads. That's what, 3 or 4 bike lengths that he's got over the rest, and he's just seemed to turn it on at will. Caroline Powie, Andy Farid holding on, and as you say, it's the Thai Pasawit who's in 3rd place.
Well, Karu Idam is trying to do a breakaway because he can, if he can set a good time, a lap time, so he can create a gap between him and the group. But still, inside the group, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 riders, almost touch between the 2 riders, but 5 riders in one group, so 5 of them now competing for P1.
As they come into the notorious V-shaped bend, it's so far so good. We're expecting a little bit of mayhem there, but the racers, to be fair, have been pretty circumspect going into that V corner. At the end of the home straight, they go into this long right-hand corner, and then it's the long straight heading down towards the hairpin bend. And Caroline Powie and Andy Farid, as they have all the way through, are leading the way. And Karugi as well, also joining in for company. But these 5 have broken away.
So watch out for number 1 and number 5. These 2 are battling for the championship title this year. And it's now number 5 is in front. Not very long, because we have Sunya Mori. 5 riders now battling hard with each other, side by side. In almost every lap, we see every corner that we have a new leader of this group.
Indeed, this time it's Mori, although Nagoi goes past him. As they come into the technical part of the track, there's Mori on bike number 6, Nagoi on bike number 5, Caroline Powie and Tasawit as well. The Thai now takes his turn in the lead. It's almost like a peloton in cycling. One's pulling the rest along with them. But the pack are closing up behind them. It was just 5 have broken clear, but now there's 8 in that opening group.
Yeah, we had a gap between the first group and the second group before, and now the gap seems to be decreasing, and we have one huge group in front. So this is the ADC that we saw this year. We now more than 5, I think 8 or 7 riders in this group, in the front group. So it's a large group now battling for P1.
Indeed it is. Andy Farid leads the way. Sharp right, quickly maneuver the body into the left and get the knee close to the ground. This is where the physical conditioning comes in for all of the guys. All young fellas, none of them have got too much weight to them, so they need to really throw their body around, and Caroline Powie does that better than most as he jams on the brakes into second gear, takes the notorious corner safely once again. It's a masterclass from Caroline Powie.
Yeah, it's Caroline Powie number 1, Tapen Nagawi second in the race right now. The 2 riders who had won the race this year, because Caroline Powie won 7, Nagawi won 1 race, and the rest is trying to get their first win of the season. Good
to see Aditya Pangestu, the fastest lap of 2:06.914, and he's in that group. And there is Mori as well, trying to make life difficult for Caroline Powie. So Mori has taken a really wide line, and not often we've seen that. The riders have tended to stick to the tested foot. Wow, battle for P1 concerns 8 different bikes as they come to the hairpin. Phenomenal stuff.
Quite impressed with Aditya Pangestu this year, where he's improving himself, and he was on the podium twice in Central Indonesia and once in Suzuka, Japan, and is 3rd in the standing with 105 points, still within the reach to Tapen Nagawi, who is currently 2nd in the standing. So this is a battle between Caroline Powie and Nagawi for the championship title, and also Aditya Pangestu and Nagawi for the 2nd place overall.
And Nagawi has swept into the lead. Caroline Powie in 2nd place, and Mori will just turn in 3rd. So Caroline Powie in close pursuit of Tapen Nagawi. He knows exactly what he has to do. He needs to make sure that Nagoi can't get too far away. Not that the title is in any real jeopardy for Caroline Powie, but he's just keeping the Japanese in his sights.
They just passed the difficult part of the track, where the throttle control is very important.
Whoa! So the long run off there, and he's stayed down.
One of these out is number 15, if I'm not mistaken. It's number 15.
Sure, Irvin Daniel at the front of the group. We'll keep an eye on Caroline Powie, who's unaware of the crash behind him. Mori is pushing the Malaysian. In fact, Mori and Nagoi, the 2 Japanese, and Aditya has come through into 3rd place as they come through the the notorious V. I'm calling it notorious, but nothing's happened so far. So maybe it won't be that notorious. Just yesterday in practice, all of the racers were very concerned about how they would approach that final corner.
Yes, and perhaps after a few of practice sessions and the qualifying round, so they really understand the track right now. And they're really cautious in going through the last corner. That's the crash that we saw just now on Shoel Erwin Daniel from Sri Lanka.
We'll keep a close eye on it, and we'll get any medical information that we can from the medical centre, which is here in this brand new arena. For an arena that's not been used, there's very, very little that still needs to be done. Running around the track yesterday, the one thing I saw was there's no spectator viewing advantage over that final circuit, so interesting. But anyway, here's Ngoi, who was in the lead temporarily, and then suddenly Chang International got himself involved as well, and then Khalid Mpawi and Aditya make the lead. Gosh, Perm, anyone from those 7.
Yeah, anyone from those 7, and this will be till the end of the race. So it's important for them to be in this group, and then one of the riders will go out to pull the other riders. So we will see the race getting very interesting at the last 3 or 4 corners in the last lap of the race.
Khalid Mpawi on a perfect line, went wide so he could cut the apex of the corner beautifully. Aditya Hangestu is currently in that little group. He's in 2nd place, but the Indonesian at the moment in the wake of Khalid Mpawi. They come around this sharp right-hand corner. This is the tricky part. Again, yeah, the shift of body weight in Khalid Mpawi every time, exactly the same line, Harmy.
And racing line is very important here in this track to keep the speed that you need to go to the track and to be in front. But it's surprising to see that Khalid Mpawi has not managed to do a breakaway, because based on the time that he set in the practice and qualifying session, he is half a second faster than all the other riders, but still stuck in this group because the rest 6 of the riders will not let him go that far.
With 3 laps to go, Khalid Mpawi from Aditya, Andy Farid from Murray, Chang International, Karugi in 6th, Ngoi in 7th, but he'll soon pick up that time, I'm sure. A little bit further down, Koko Tadachi from Philippines in 8th, Sumit Lux Dubbo from India in 9th, and Prabhu from India in 10th.
It's 3 laps to go. But I look at it now, it is an advantage for Khalid Mpawi, and it's not so good for Tepi Ngoi, because we have, another rider is down on the circuit. Is
Sumit Lux
Dubbo.
He's one of the taller riders, as you can see, and he's walking okay, but it's always a nasty little thump.
Yeah.
The racing suit offers plenty of protection, but even so, he's just being edged off.
Well, still unfortunate for Sumit Lux Dubbo, who started at his best grid position this year.
Indeed, 4th on the grid he was, and at the other end, this is a good move by Aditya Pangestu Hanafi. Aditya leads from Ngoi. Khalid again just keeps them in his sights. I agree with you. I thought he would have tried to have made a little bit of a breakaway, because there's so much potential mayhem on that last corner. He really will want to avoid any trouble.
Yes, and for Ngoi, he will try to be behind Khalid Mpawi all the way, because we have a large group, 7 riders, so they can end up anywhere in this group. So it's not going to be good for Ngoi if he finishes 6 or 7 and Khalid Mpawi wins the race, and that's it. That's the title. It's over for Tepi Ngoi.
Well, Aditya leads through the right-left. That's Khalid Mpawi in 2nd place. How close is that? Aditya on bike 11, Khalid Mpawi in that little group behind him. Mori is 6th, and Andy Farid is bike number 4. And Khalid Mpawi maneuvers the perfect racing line coming into this final corner. Every time, Harmy, he hits it on the button.
Yeah, indeed. He's a very disciplined rider. He's a very smooth rider on the track. But as you can see now, it's a long straight. Some of the other riders, number 11 has advantage. It's Aditya Pangestu Hanafi, who's improved so well this year towards the end of the season, and he's now leading the race. And also we have Chang International in that group who was second in Suzuka, and Tsunya Mori from Japan. Nagoi currently 5th. So Nagoi has to do something.
Yeah, I'm just looking to go. He's actually 7th there, unless he can pull something out. And if Caroline Powie wins and Nagoi comes 7th, the title is done and dusted with 3 races to go. Nagoi's got an awful lot of time. There's still a lap and a half to go here at the Chang International Circuit in Buriram, Thailand, part of the motorsports complex that has been introduced here to get tourists to come to this part of Thailand. And if the racing carries on like this, Army, I think it'll be job easily done.
I remember last year when Hiroki Ono was a champion in the penultimate race in Japan, in the second race, not race 1. So Karidam Pawi tried to finish it here this morning as early as he can so that he can enjoy the rest of the season. 3 more races to go, another round in Doha, Qatar. But look at it now, Karidam Pawi is very, very serious to win the championship or the title here in Buriram.
This Honda Asia Dream Cup 125cc bikes. We've got more racing coming your way, not only later on today, but we've got 5 categories of races for you next season. Suzuki are into the fold. We'll have more of that later. But for now, this is the Honda race, and Caroline Powie is leading the way. Where is Nagoi at the moment? He's in 5th place and trying to make a move. But at the moment, he's in 5th, just edge ahead of Mori, as Aditya goes into the corner first. Caroline Powie, for once, is in 2nd and pushed wide. And there's a touching of the back wheels. And that's the danger of that final corner.
Yeah, that's a checkered flag. We'll see the results. It's Andy who won the race with Caroline Powie 2nd, Shinja Mori 3rd. So Aditya Nagoi is 5th. So still well, it's not that far between Caroline Powie in points with Nagoi. We have to do the mathematics once again after this.
I think the riders are still thinking that there's still 1 lap to go, because they're out there competing. They think there's 1 lap still to go, and certainly our reckoning was that there's 1 lap still to go. It could well be that we've had the checkered flag pulled early.
Yeah, I'm really confused because we have 1 more lap to go. But there's a checkered flag. But it's still racing on the track, so I believe there's 1 more lap to go.
Indeed, so confusion at Buriram, and it seems to have impacted Caroline Powie, because from 1st, he's dropped now to 6th, and Tagoi will be ahead of him. This will take a little bit of working out, but Aditya and Andy Farid lead the way, and Chang Yu is taking advantage. What can Caroline Powie do? That was very unfortunate. If the checkered flag counts, then he would have been 2nd. At the moment, Caroline Powie is in 5th, and a heck of a lot of work still to do in the last half.
There's a lot of confusion on the track right now, but they're still racing, and Caroline Powie has to work very hard because he's not currently 5th in this race. And we have number 4, that is the Andy Farid is still leading the race, and Tepe Nagawi now down to 4th.
Indeed he is. Tepe Nagawi is 4th. Let's have a look for bike number 1. We're coming to the business end of the track, and a man is down, and it's Nagoi.
Oh, he's not
the title could well be going to Caroline Powie. Will 5th place be enough? Probably not. Caroline Powie, though, champion-elect, will need to do the mathematics, will need to work out what's going on with the final lap, but Murray is 2nd. Andy Farid leads. Caroline Powie comes from the back and goes on the inside, tries to force his way through on the final corner. Caroline Powie, there's congestion, there's mayhem. Caroline Powie takes 2nd. This time it's the checkered flag. Andy Farid takes the win. Caroline Powie will be champion of the Asia Dream Cup. Wow.
What a race for Caroline Powie. And we saw that is, well, too bad for Nagoi. And then we saw that few riders that almost touched each other.
Indonesian national anthem. After the teething problems, there will be 1 or 2 belted out. And the Asian Dream Cup race number 1, the prize will be given out by Mr. Chakris Wahawi-san from Apollo Thailand Company Limited. He's the president of Apollo Thailand.
Yeah, it's Shinja Mori.
Mori has been given 3rd place.
Yeah, all the riders been briefed on the last turn. So they've been won well, especially before the race. They had a small briefing before the start of the race. So now the winner, Aditya Pangestu Hanafi.
25 points, the first 25-pointer of the season for Aditya. He has had a couple of thirds. In fact, he's had 4 thirds and now this 25. So it's a terrific effort for Aditya. And it is all change, I tell you, it is all change, because Andy Farid went over the line first, but such is the mayhem on that last corner. Carl Idampawi